Maya stood at the window of her tiny one-room apartment, watching the city buzz with life below. Her 5-year-old son, Arjun, sat on the floor behind her, carefully coloring inside the lines of a cartoon book she had picked up from a second-hand shop. The air was heavy with humidity, and the ceiling fan above them creaked softly, but Maya's mind was elsewhere, on bills, school fees, and how to stretch the little money she had until her next paycheck. Just a year ago, life had felt different. Back then, she lived in a quiet village with her husband, believing they would face life's struggles together. But one day, he left for the city promising work and never returned. No calls, no letters, no money. Just silence. And with that silence came a storm of hardship. Rather than give in to despair, Maya made a choice. She packed what little she had and moved to the city with Arjun. Here, she found work as a cleaner in a large office building. The hours were long and the pay was small, but it was honest. Every morning, she would wake before sunrise, prepare breakfast for Arjun, and walk him to the nearby government school. Then she'd head to work, mopping floors and scrubbing desks, her mind constantly racing with thoughts of how to do better, for herself and for her son. At night, after dinner, she would sit with Arjun and read to him from simple English storybooks, stumbling over words but always trying. "English will open doors for you," she told him, though she secretly hoped it would open doors for her too. Despite the struggles, Maya never let Arjun see her cry. She laughed with him, encouraged his learning, and showered him with love. Though the apartment was small and their meals were plain, there was warmth between the walls. Maya had lost a lot, but she still had hope, and with each passing day, she whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." One gray afternoon, as Maya scrubbed the office kitchen counter, she overheard two women chatting nearby. "Did you hear about the free English classes at the community center?" one said. "Every evening. It's good for people who want better jobs." Maya paused, her sponge mid-swipe. Free English classes. Her heart fluttered with interest. That evening, after putting Arjun to bed with a kiss on the forehead, Maya slipped on her worn sandals and walked through the dimly lit streets to the center the women had mentioned. It was a modest building with peeling paint, but inside, the room buzzed with energy. A friendly teacher handed Maya a form and welcomed her with a kind smile. That smile felt like sunlight breaking through the clouds. From that day on, Maya added one more task to her long list: learning. After her full shift at work and the dinner routine at home, she would head to class, sleepy but determined. The first week was tough. The alphabet felt foreign. Her tongue stumbled on the simplest words, and grammar rules twisted her brain. But every time she thought about quitting, she looked at Arjun's sleeping face and remembered why she started. Slowly, she began to improve. She could introduce herself in English and hold a short conversation. She learned how to write basic sentences and read simple texts. Arjun noticed, too. "Mama, you're learning English like me," he said proudly one evening, as they practiced together at the dinner table. Maya smiled. Learning had become something they shared. She started labeling objects around the house in English. Table, door, chair, window. And Arjun helped her pronounce the words. They giggled together at mistakes, clapped at progress, and encouraged each other. With every lesson, Maya felt a new kind of strength growing inside her. A quiet belief that maybe life didn't have to stay this way forever. Maybe, just maybe, things could change. Not because someone would rescue her, but because she was learning how to rescue herself. 3 months into her English classes, Maya was beginning to feel different. She still cleaned the same office floors and carried the same mop bucket, but something inside her had shifted. She walked a little taller, smiled a little more, and even greeted people with a confident, "Good morning." Her hard work hadn't gone unnoticed. One day, as she was wiping down the reception desk, the building manager, Mr. Sharma, approached her with a thoughtful expression. "Maya," he said, "the receptionist is leaving next week. We need someone to handle the front desk. You've been learning English, haven't you?" Maya's heart jumped. "Yes, sir," she said carefully. "I go to classes every evening." Mr. Sharma nodded. "Come in tomorrow for an interview." That night, Maya could hardly sleep. Her hands trembled as she practiced answers in the mirror. My name is Maya. I want to work at the front desk. I can speak English a little, and I learn fast. Arjun sat beside her on the bed, pretending to be Mr. Sharma. Why do you want this job, Maya? He asked, trying to sound serious. Maya giggled and gave her answer. They laughed, but deep down, Maya knew how much this meant. This wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, growth, and setting an example for her son. The next morning, she wore her neatest clothes and tied her hair back. As she sat in the office chair for the interview, her knees shook under the desk. But when the questions began, her preparation kicked in. She answered slowly but clearly, choosing her words carefully. Mr. Sharma smiled at her effort. You've come a long way, he said. You're honest, hardworking, and improving every day. We'll give you a chance. The tears filled Maya's eyes as she nodded. She thanked him in English, her voice steady. As she walked home that evening, the world felt brighter. She wasn't just a cleaner anymore. She was a receptionist now. And more than that, she was a mother who dared to dream and took the first real step toward changing her and Arjun's future. The first few days as a receptionist were nerve-wracking for Maya. She worried about answering the phone correctly, greeting clients with the right words, and making sure her English didn't fail her in front of the office staff. But to her surprise, everyone was kind and supportive. Each day, her confidence grew. She practiced new phrases at home, watched English videos online, and continued attending her evening classes with even more enthusiasm. Arjun beamed with pride whenever he visited her at work, and Maya could see admiration in his young eyes. My mama works at the front desk now, he told his teacher one day. She speaks English very well. With her new position came a slightly higher salary, and for the first time in a long while, Maya didn't have to worry about how she'd afford groceries or school books. She bought a second, hand-study desk for Arjun, a new pair of shoes for herself, and even a small cake to celebrate their little victory. Their apartment was still small, but it felt brighter, filled with laughter, learning, and hope. Maya began helping other women in her neighborhood learn English too, encouraging them not to give up. If I can do it, she said with a warm smile, so can you. One evening, her English teacher visited the office unexpectedly. I had to see it with my own eyes, she laughed. You've transformed, Maya? Maya stood proudly at her desk and replied, Thank you, miss. I still have a lot to learn, but I feel ready now. The teacher hugged her, and even Mr. Sharma joined them with a nod of approval. That night, after dinner, Maya tucked Arjun into bed and sat by the window. The city lights twinkled like stars, and the sounds of traffic were no longer scary. She had built a life from almost nothing, and though she still had challenges ahead, she whispered with quiet strength, We're going to be just fine. With English as her bridge and courage in her heart, Maya's journey had only just begun, and her dreams were finally taking flight.